Right, Bill McDonald, thank you for joining MolksTVTalk.
Good to meet you, Molks.
Yes, mate.
Heard a lot about you.
Yeah, heaps, and it's all bad.
Oh, can't be.
Bill, you've been in journalism now for, I think we're pushing for more than 15 years, haven't you?
Yeah, I started when I was 20, 44 now.
Goodness me, that's a little more than 15.
It's a long time, isn't it? I shouldn't reveal the age. So yeah, it's been a long time now. Started out writing some copy at Full BH.
Yes.
Just writing a bit of police copy, that sort of thing for the presenters on radio under the great John Knox.
Nice.
Legendary newsreader up here. And from there I worked in DDQ Channel 10 at Toowoomba. Nice. I got into sport, always liked doing sport. And English was my best subject at school. I liked writing, I liked sport, so that seemed like a dream job for me. Spent a bit of time out in Toowoomba covering just about everything that was going, and as you do out there, you learn the trade. Then got a great opportunity at 7 Network, not long after that, and came down and kicked off in AFL. The Brisbane Bears started that year, and I spent 10 great years there, and then got picked up by Network 10, and the rest, as they say, is history. Here we go. Yeah, that's awesome. And look, you've been really lucky. Your career has been a little bit of press, like you spoke about, a little bit of print, and then a lot of television. Now, was television like an inevitable choice for you, or was it something you were drawn to, or you'd be just as happy still writing columns? I don't mind any form of the media. I have written a lot of columns, and I actually like radio as well. Radio's good fun, very immediate. I like the challenge of TV. I think you've got to combine all of it. You've got to you've got to get your words right. You've got to get good pictures. You've got to learn to write to pictures. I just think it combines a bit of everything in television. So for me, it was like the best all-round, the big all-round challenge. And I always thought it would be fun and to work in TV and a TV environment, so I'm sort of living a dream in a way.
Is it fun?
It's great fun. There's something different every day. I always wanted to have a job where I could work outside, a job where I could meet a lot of people, a lot of interesting people, and this job rewards you in spades like that, because even from the recent floods, you just get to meet so many good people when you don't expect it. And the people you work with are fantastic. You always learn something from people. You know, we've got a great mix of experience where we are. We've got so much youth coming through as well. And you just learn so much from both. And I love it. It's fantastic. I love to go to work every day.
And that's what you want, isn't it? You want to be in a position where work is fun. You want to go. You want to be there. It helps develop the creative process in what can sometimes be a fairly rigid and structured environment. Yeah, your news is fairly rigid and structured. It's nice to be able to think that you can go out there and maybe do a story or find out something that's relevant to other people in the community you live with and friends, and that maybe informs them a little bit or maybe changes lives sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time like that, but you think, well, maybe this story is going to open somebody's eyes about something, or maybe this is something they didn't know about, and maybe they wouldn't have found out if we hadn't have done this story. But So you have an obvious passion for sport. You enjoy, you've done a lot of sport as well. Channel 10 have really allowed you to, dare I say, indulge that, particularly your time in 7 doing the AFL, and then the same with 10.
Yeah, I've built up quite a profile with the AFL, I guess. It's probably the sport I love the most. I got to go to all the Brisbane Lions premierships, and that's a sporting highlight in a career for me. So 10 have been very good, very generous there, and I still do the sideline coverage for the network games out of Brisbane, and I think there's going to be a few on the Gold Coast this year with new Gold Coast teams. So it is good, and it's great that 10 are flexible like that, and they don't see any clash or conflict.
Actually, what do you make of the AFL's expansion onto the Gold Coast?
I think it'll be great. I think they're throwing everything at it. They won't die wondering, because they're just putting so much money into it, and for that reason I think it'll be a success. They've brought the biggest name in the game, and Gary Ablett Jr. up here. But having said that, I don't think they're going to find instant success by any stretch. I think we've seen with the Brisbane Bears before they became the Brisbane Lions. It takes a while to build a team, and it's such an even, strong competition now. It's not going to happen overnight. So I think people talk about them playing finals in the first year or two. I think that's a pipe dream, really.
The Carmichael Hunt experiment, will it pay off?
I think it's already paid off. The amount of publicity, the day that he signed and the day that he played his first game. I mean, that first game that he played, it wasn't an AFL game.
Yeah.
He played it out in country Victoria somewhere. It was on live radio. It was covered by all the television networks. It was headlines in all the papers. The day that he signed, front and back page of papers around the country. He put a dollar value on what the AFL would have to spend to get that exposure. When they're going, I guess, head-to-head with the NRL in the Battle of the Codes. I think it's already paid off. Anything that comes now from Carmichael Hunt, success or otherwise, is just cherry on the cake.
Just run him off the bench in the fourth quarter every game?
Yeah, that'll do. I think he'd go okay though. Personally, I think he's an athlete. He's like a lot of these professional sportsmen.
He's got some form too. It's not AFL's not a new game to him.
No, and he did okay in the trials that he played on a pretty limited preparation. He's probably got a body that needs a little bit of reshaping. He's probably thicker through the sort of middle and needs to slim down a bit and get a little bit more athletic and run a bit more for AFL. But he's a smart guy. I think he's capable of doing that, and he's getting paid well enough to be able to do that. So
hell, I'd run around the paddock for that money.
So would I, and Israel Folau's in the same boat. I mean, he could be the real excitement machine when he gets going in a couple of years with Greater Western Sydney.
Look, and Sheed's signing for Greater Western Sydney as coach, and so that's going to be big.
Yeah, that's great experience. It's great, I think, for that club to have someone of his calibre. And I think I might have said in the past that I think maybe the Brisbane Lions could have done okay having someone of Sheed's background and experience maybe involved in the club. It doesn't have to be Sheed's, but just someone like that in the background for Michael Voss. Because Michael Voss didn't have that. Love Michael Voss. I love Voss. He's great. Worked with him at 10, but I just don't think he had that expertise to call on. And then at a time when the list is rolling over and it's redeveloping, I just think you need someone like that in the club, and Sheeds has been there before and he's done it all, and he's a PR machine as well on top of all that. I would have thought that might have been a nice fit. Sheeds and the Lions.
There would be lots of Lions supporters that would agree with you. Do you get to watch much TV yourself?
Not as much as I'd like to, especially now that we've got a little baby at home. He's only a couple of months old. But I do like to watch a bit of TV and naturally watch a bit of stuff on 10. I like a mix of things. I certainly watch a bit of sport. I like watching AFL. Any sort of sport on 10 and whatnot. I like watching a bit of Modern Family. I like that sort of humour. I reckon that's great. I used to love watching Seinfeld, so I like that sort of style of humour. Watch a bit of MasterChef, must admit, which was a big surprise packet for 10. And it's not just because it's 10. I just think it's a good show, and it's a show I think a lot of people relate to because our kids watch it. So we found ourselves watching it together, and it's that thing where your friends talk about it, and the next day around the water cooler, everyone's talking about, did you see that last night? What about this? And so I watch a bit of that, and I've got to admit I watch a fair bit of trashy reality TV out of the States on pay. Speaking of trashy reality television, do you watch much news? I watch a lot of news on 10, and you always watch your competitors. There's no doubt about that. Don't watch as much as you probably think. Certainly at the moment don't get to see the rivals on 7 and 9 because of the commitments we've got with the evening news. But yeah, I watch a lot of overseas, and you look overseas to see what sort of trends are happening with news, and to see how the Yanks do it. And I definitely watch a bit of news. Watch ABC News quite a bit and their current affairs shows, because I think most people would agree they sort of set a bit of a benchmark in the country for the way they cover current affairs. Full corners, shows like that.
Good call. You've been co-anchoring the 10 News in Brisbane for 6-7 years now, I think?
Yeah, since 2004, so this will be the 7th year. Very good, Molks. Do you do your research?
Done my research, mate. I'm working hard. So given that, you've seen a lot of changes, just subtle changes as much as overt changes, go on in the delivery of news in Brisbane, let alone nationally. What do you think is the most significant change, apart from 10's new news lineup? We'll talk about that in a second. The most significant change you've seen in those 6 years that you've been leading the news?
I think we're doing a lot more live stuff in our bulletins now, trying to be a lot more immediate. I think there's a lot more emphasis now on if something happens, let's get a truck out there, let's get a journo out there, and let's see if we can just cross out there live and get as much as it happens news to air as possible. We're trying to cover probably a wider breadth of stories because I think the audience is changing a bit. So we're trying to appeal to what the audience wants, and we're trying to service what the audience wants. So I think it's a lot more targeted now. And the other thing is that technology has changed dramatically, and technology has really changed a lot of the way we gather news. And news develops and rolls over so quickly, and there's such an appetite for it now because people get it in so many ways. They get it through a lot of social networks and a lot of social sites and websites, as you know. Not all of it's true, but it's certainly far more sources of news now, and television news, mainstream news has to go with that, and you have to be part of that.